Hey everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel, welcome back for another video. Today's video is, of course, talking about a little bit of The Walking Dead, particularly The Ones Who Live, as The Ones Who Live is premiering for the first time over in the UK. And Andrew Lincoln, as part of kind of promotions for the premiere and everything, being in the UK for the first time, he was a part of a couple different interviews, and I just wanted to talk about them and the things that they talked about, the things that they asked him, and his future as Rick Grimes. And as we all know, they've not mentioned any word of a Ones Who Live Season 2 or any other projects or any other cameos involving the character of Rick Grimes. And it's something that we all hope we see. We hope we see reunions. We just hope we see him come back and play some sort of part within The Walking Dead, whether it's a whole new series, a second season of The Ones Who Live, or just cameos within the existing spin-offs. Me personally, I don't think they're going to do a Ones Who Live Season 2. I just don't think, as that title and as that particular story revolving around that series can really be extended beyond what they already did with that first season. Because the whole premise around that show was about Rick and Michonne finding each other and getting back home, which they accomplished with the one season. Even though, yes, the last episode especially, it was very rushed. The CRM turned out to be really nothing after many years of build-up and being built up through multiple shows. It just was very rushed. They could have done with maybe 1 or 2 episodes to kind of further prolong the destruction of the CRM or go into more detail about their history or something, but it was just the way they did it, it just didn't really work out. So within this interview, of course, they talked about his time as Rick Grimes, the series itself, and of course the possibility of him coming back and doing any more stories involving Rick Grimes. And they talked about, what would be your ideal filming location, because they spent so many years filming down in the Atlanta heat, and then they did The Ones Who Live up in New Jersey. They were doing it in the middle of winter, and at one point it started snowing. This is something that he actually goes on to talk about. But kind of joking, he says, well, I would love to film in Hawaii. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's beautiful climate there and everything. But realistically, with the story that they would hopefully want to tell with Rick Grimes, they would probably have to return to the Atlanta area. That just makes the most sense. That's the part of the story we want to see. But there's also that possibility that if they don't do an entire series, whether it be Ones Who Live Season 2 or just something completely new with Rick and Michonne or Rick and other survivors of our original gang, that if they were to do anything, it would be him doing a cameo within probably Daryl Dixon. That would make the most sense, considering Daryl is gone solely for the reason to go look for Rick in the first place. So to see him come back and have that reunion, that'd be great. But they asked him, of course, what would it take for you to reprise this character? And he said, of course, never say never if they came up with the right story and what that story would really entail as far as why would Rick Grimes need to be a part of it. And obviously, the biggest thing was we want to see reunions. We want to see the original group back together and see anything that would be just them surviving. And that's kind of one thing they kind of go off into, aside from Andy Lincoln saying he would love to, or if he were to direct any parts of any other appearances of Rick Grimes, whether it be, of course, another series or just him doing a cameo, he would love it if it would go back to the simplicity of the first couple of seasons, where it was just about surviving. It was about the danger of the walkers and not just these big extravagant stories that we saw within the CRM story arc and just different things along the way. He believes the best way is to go back to the basics. And Scott Gimple said something very similar. He said, I would love to do more classic characters in very different situations, but with those same sort of Walking Dead story values, Gimple said. That said, I do have some insane ideas that have nothing to do with any of that. I like doing both, but I think we've had an emphasis on the experimental. I would love to do more classic stuff for a little while. So that's something I think a lot of the fan base would love to see, is just him going back to, again, the simplicity, the basics, just the dangers of survival, dealing with walkers. Could we see some variants? I think that is possible. It would definitely add some new edgy kind of danger to the walkers to see these variants show up in America, because we've only seen them in the Daryl series within France and everything right now. But to see them come back and be a new type of danger, where if we think about season 9, where we saw the Whisper arc, where the characters are seeing the walkers and they think they're just evolving before they realize it's just people wearing the skin of dead walkers. So to go back to that, and one thing that Andy Lincoln really talks about, and I thought was really interesting, was the very first episode, first season, where we see him first wake up from that coma, and he's in that stairwell, the emergency stairwell of the hospital, and he's just got that match, and it keeps going out on him as he's struggling to relight another match, and he just hears these things, and he's really kind of trying to get his bearings until he makes it to that door, and he opens it up, and it's very bright, we can't see anything, and that's just him opening up to the dead world, that he has yet to know what's going on. He has no idea that the world has fallen, that there's no government or anything like that. So yes, I would love to see it go back to that in the best way that it could, while still kind of addressing any major threats out there or any more kind of villain arcs that we've seen with the other seasons, but just not go too crazy with it where it's kind of the same pattern repeating. So it would be great to see him come back, and I definitely think he's open to the idea, which is great. So because it's, as of late anyways, the Walking Dead world, especially with the upcoming seasons of Daryl Dixon and Dead City, it's gone very quiet. And they're not doing anything to hype up or promote Daryl Dixon, as he is supposed to, originally anyways, be premiering sometime this summer, but I think it's going to be pushed off. And with that being said, I think that maybe that is being done on purpose, where they're trying to have a lull between Walking Dead projects or Walking Dead content, where they want to have kind of that break, because they did spend 2 years from the announcement of The Ones Who Live up until the premiere, that whole time giving us anything they can to promote, to hype up, to build up the excitement that was the return of Rick Grimes. So I can understand them kind of wanting to take a break before they really start promoting it. So I imagine here probably in the next 4 weeks, especially within the June time frame and everything, that we're hopefully going to start seeing some promotion material regarding Daryl Dixon and where he's at in his adventure, and the additional things that we're going to see for the promotion or for the build-up of Dead City, because we just recently got a Dead City production teaser where we don't really get any kind of a teaser or dialogue. It's just clips of them shooting the series and just getting things ready, and just building up the hype as much as they possibly can. So all in all, it's exciting that Andrew Lincoln is definitely up to return to this role, and he's not ready to close the door on it completely yet. But I think we're going to be waiting a little while before we see him again, honestly. I don't think we're going to see a Ones Who Live Season 2. I think, if anything, we're going to see a whole new series or just cameos within the other spinoffs. And I will leave links to both of the interviews in the description down below. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, of course, subscribe to the channel. Help me reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it. So until next time, guys, take care. Bye.